What is up, YouTube? Man, look, you're in the mix. I'm Mixx. Let's jump into this shit. So, Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder had part three of their fight last night. Now, the backdrop. Part one, Tyson Fury and Deontay Wilder ended in a draw. Part two, Tyson Fury ended up with a knock. All right? So, fast forward, Deontay Wilder needs a win for himself, for his career, for the culture. Okay? So Deontay Wilder and Tyson Fury's always been kind of billed as a black versus white, majority versus minority, and it's been billed as such, you know. So there's a lot of hype going into this type of match. There's a lot of hype going into this bout in general. Really, boxing is not the same as the 90s, the 80s, the 2000s. It has changed so much. And people really have lost a lot of faith in the sport, you know. So it's kind of good to get these type of fights to build up, the sport and in people's minds because it's a dying sport. It's just truth. Um, so the outcome of this fight, Deontay Wilder was knocked out in the 11th round. Okay, we're going to explain exactly how we got to the 11th round because it's a whole lot of shit. All right, round one. You know, there's been a lot of antics, between the two. Like Deontay Wilder is a very big personality. He likes to do like little extra shit. Tyson Fury's a little more reserved, but he's pretty much a heavy Christian. And he touts rock and roll like heavy. He's pretty much your stereotypical Caucasian. But but, but he is a British man, and Deontay Wilder is an American man. Now, this is Britain versus America, which goes all the way back to fucking forever. But it's a big deal in America and Britain. So a lot of people are tuning into this shit. They're making a lot of money. All right, that's the pretense. So, round one, Deontay Wilder comes out like he has something to prove, which, by the way, he does. He needs to prove that he's a fucking fighter. He's gotten his ass whooped and handled by Tyson Fury a good amount of times, honestly. And honestly, the draw should have been in his favor, but hey, look, boxing. But yeah, so he's coming out, he's ready. He won the round, man. He's coming out. He probably the only real shot that damn Tyson Fury could land was a clean right. Just straight hit him with a right or a left. And that was it. But Deontay Wilder's round, and it bode well. Everybody's like, oh shit, Deontay Wilder, he's about to go crazy, whatever. No. Tyson Fury knocked this nigga's lights out either in the second or third round, and he never recovered. This nigga had jelly knees the rest of the way. I'm talking about this nigga could not walk, defend, footwork was all fucked up the rest of the way. But he survived. I'm talking about this man was saved by the bell maybe 2 or 3 times. Probably about 2 or 3 rounds later, round 5 or 4, Tyson Fury got his own shit knocked. And then it was like, okay, Deontay Wilder, maybe he's not prolonging the inevitable. Maybe he actually has a fighter's chance of winning this shit. Because at this point, the card is not in his favor now. Tyson Fury's landed too many punches, too many clean hits, and he's fucked them up. He's literally physically fucked up. You can see it. And it was just ugly. It got ugly. Both men were pretty much playing the bell, playing the ring, for a good minute, beating the shit out of each other, really. But it got to a point where you realize these guys did not have stamina. And the reason why I think that was because Tyson Fury weighed more, and also Deontay Wilder weighed more. Now, Deontay Wilder weighing more, that's significant because he's not necessarily he doesn't have the strongest endurance in the heavyweight division, essentially. But, he understands that due to previous fights where he blamed his wardrobe as a reason why he couldn't win. I'm pretty sure he understood that, and he, at least tried to condition a little bit more. But it didn't go exactly how he planned it, because you could tell he was gassed by fucking round 6, 7. But Tyson Fury had the stamina to stick with him, and that's why he was able to knock this man out. It got to a point where he punched him so hard, this man did a cartwheel in the air. It got to a point where he got them on the ropes. This is a knockout punch, round 11. Get him to the ropes. He's hitting him. Boom, boom, boom. He hits him with a clean right hook. And it's just down goes Frazier. That motherfucker went down like a brick. And the ref said, nope, I can't allow this. Which he really could have. I mean, it's round 11. At least put some respect on the guy's name. He lasted 11 rounds. Please let him go ahead and do one more round. It's not going to hurt anybody. Maybe him, but fuck it. But there was clearly something wrong with what was going on. Like the way he he fucked up his wrist. You could see that shit. Like, that shit was evident. You know what I mean? There was clearly something wrong with his wrist. Like, when I tell you his wrist was, like, every time he punched, like, probably about, like, 6th round, 5th round, maybe even 7th round, every time he punched with his left hand, he winced in pain, and you could see him pull his wrist back to him, and he was not punching with full power with his left. So from 7 to 11 for 4 rounds, this man was fighting with one hand. This was just a decoy. Even when Tyson Fury would come up and try to punch him on his left and he'd block, it he would literally hold his wrist to his body because that shit, you could tell he was fucked up. And it was just like, damn, like, everybody's like, oh, it's rigged and blah, blah, blah. There's a lot of different variables in this fucking fight for you to say, all right, it's rigged. For one, these guys weigh more than they used to. It's been 20 months since they fought. Who knows what type of condition these guys really went through the pandemic. Everybody's worried about their fucking life. Ain't nobody worried about no motherfucking conditioning during the pandemic. I'm sorry. Life was more important. Yo, people's lives and health was more important. Nobody was worried about fucking running around and making sure you had stamina and endurance for a fucking 12-round fight. You feel me? So that's okay. But there's a lot of different variables, man. Like, you, these guys are millionaires, first and foremost. Like, how much do you expect them to put in the energy like a Mike Tyson did when he was broke as fuck? You know what I mean? Like, it's just different. It's just different variables. I don't think it was rigged. I think it was a hell of a fight. It's probably one of the best fights I've seen. But something was afoot. Something seemed weird. Whether it was the injury to Deontay Wilder, or whether it seemed like Tyson Fury was holding back. It seemed like there was a lot of money that needed to be secured before these guys won. It just seemed really kind of odd. It didn't seem rigged per se, but it just seemed like a lot of funny money was going on. You know what I mean? But listen, man, I know y'all watch this shit. I know every single one of the people that's watching this watch this fucking fight. Now, if you did, jump into my comments, engage, and, like, share, subscribe this video. And, of course, man, look, it's always my pleasure, and I'm always going to put y'all up on shit. I personally thought it was a great fight, and I wish there would be another one, but I'm not going to lie, I wouldn't be sad if it wasn't. But, stranger things have happened. It's 2021. Look, man, you're in the mix. I'm Mixx. It's always been my pleasure, man. Y'all be safe and peace.